Fear's been gripping me a lot recently. Been feeling deeply into fear about the next steps and the next stages I want to get into my life. Knowing what I need to do, knowing the sacrifice that I need to make to take it to the next level. Really, to know what that's like, to go to the next level. Because when you set out to serve people, maybe you're watching this and you can serve other people in what you're doing, your ability to be able to understand the depth of sacrifice that somebody has gone to is ultimately going to show up in the way in which you serve them. You'll be able to know where they've come from. You'll be able to know the sacrifice that they've made. You'll be able to know what they've done to get to where they are now. Because it takes a total sacrifice of oneself. We use these words. We use these words of total sacrifice. What does total sacrifice mean? It sounds nice to say. It sounds like this poetic thing. But when you really look at it, really look at what total sacrifice is, it is fucking scary, bro. It is scary. It is scary. And this really started off thinking about these next moves that I had to do in my business and in my life. But I also had this funny story. It's actually not really funny. It's very serious. But I have a friend of mine, and I'm not naming any names, and he's a mercenary. Okay, he's a mercenary. And the stories that this guy tells me are just crazy. If you want to learn about what it really means to be a man, really means to live on the edge, you talk to mercenaries, man, because this guy, he really lives on the edge. And it was like something out of a movie, I swear. He hands me these 2 flattened 9mm bullets. He hands them to me and he says, "I got shot yesterday." I'm like, "What the hell? You got shot? Are you okay? Like, what? Are you serious?" He's like, "Yeah, some people tried to rob my house and they shot me. I had a bulletproof vest on. And yeah, but I wasn't going to let them get away with that. So I went and got my AK-47 and I saw the light out in the middle of the night and just 3 shots, saw the lamp go down, threat neutralized." And I just couldn't believe how casual he was about that. Everything in my brain was saying, "Dude, are you okay? Like, do you need help? You need therapy? Like, what do you say to that? What do you say to that? To be so casual to a dude that, I don't know, maybe he killed him, got shot. I mean, the guy had already been shot multiple times, of course, but he was so casual about it. And the only thing that came out of my mouth after the shock was, "Well, I mean, how does it feel to be shot?" And it was so, he looks at me, it was very casual, very casually. He says, "I don't really like to be shot. I don't prefer it, but I'll be okay." Something to that effect. And I died laughing. I do gut-busting laughter. How can you get shot and be so indifferent to it? And it got me thinking about what we're really afraid of in life. What we're really afraid of in life. And that every time as a man, we make a decision to do something. Maybe you're watching this video and you're on the cusp of making a decision in your life and you're scared. But you know you got to dive in. And you're just like, "Oh, I don't want to dive in. I'm scared. I don't know what's going to happen. What's going to be on the other side?" Dude, myself, I've been in this position so many times where I've dived. So many times where I've asked the same damn questions. And I've always turned out fine on the other side. In fact, I've turned out to be stronger on the other side. That God is going to push you to say, "Can you handle this? Can you handle this? Can you handle this?" And we kind of like tiptoe around it. We kind of tiptoe around it because we believe that we have to figure this out ourselves. No. No, we don't have to figure out this ourselves. Nothing. Everything that comes to us is from the grace of a higher power. We can show up 100%. We can work really hard. But all of that is gone in the blink of an eye. In a bullet shot to the chest. My friend, good friend of mine, just got raided in his house because some people are watching this like, where the fuck does this guy live? Well, this guy, he had the police come in. He's an old hippie. He was selling weed. And everything that he built up, some dude just had an animosity with him and just came in, and now he's living in house arrest. Everything can collapse right at the blink of a moment. Everything that you've built up in your life could just be gone. So you can think that this is all you. You can think that everything that you've built in your life is about what you represent, the story around you, the story of why you think you're so fucking important. But then it's gone in the blink of an eye. And then what are you left with? What are you left with? You're left with you, your purpose, and a higher power. And if you don't believe you have a higher power, then best of luck to you, man, because you're going to be a very depressed person. And so I asked myself, am I willing to do what it takes to get to the next level? How can you serve people on a high level if you pussyfoot around and don't do the scary things? How are you really actually going to be of service to other people if you don't know what that's like? You're going to be talking out your ass, saying and pontificating on things that I don't know, maybe you've had that kind of experience, or maybe you've read a book about it and you can kind of empathize with it, or you've really been in the fucking shit. You had that fear right up to your face, and it's like, can you deal more? Can you handle more? That's what it means to be a fucking man. When you look at your fucking fear and you're like, oh, I'm going to fucking eat you. And relishing in that. And looking at that thing, there's a switch in your mind. There's a switch. It's that dog in you where you're like, this is what I'm fucking afraid of. And it's either going to eat me or I'm going to eat it. And it's that switch. And you're like, fuck you, bro. You are dead. You're dead meat. And either you die or I die. And it's in that conviction that, that's when everything falls into place. Every time you make a move in your life, you're dying. Part of you's dying. And the only thing that's dying is the story around that thing. Every move that you make, every decision, every level up is another level of death. And it's the strangest thing to me that people are so afraid of death. When death, everything's dying all the time. These cells are dying. When you lift weights, your muscles are dying and you're regrowing. Death is a part of life. You probably ate a dead carcass this morning, some bacon or whatever. Death is all around you, and yet somehow our brains are so fucking afraid of dying. Because it means to wake up. And I will be the first to say, I don't know what the hell that even means. I don't even know what the hell it even means to wake up. I'm not going to come on here and tell you that I know what that means. But what I will say is that in life, to really be a fucking man, you got to face your fears. And touching on death every time you make that scary decision. Every time you're faced with that oh shit moment, that's when you rise. Babe, I'm pregnant. Right there. That moment of fucking fear and terror and excitement, and you can fumble the bag, and you can run away, and you can act like a child, or you can be a man. You can be a man. Because you have your purpose, you have God, you have the conviction, and you have the power. Because it's your grace, it is part of the gift of being alive to have access to all the resources around you. And the fear, and the shame, and the running away, and the childlike terror comes from believing that you're separate from that. That you got to shoulder it all on your own. That ain't nobody going to come save you. You got to figure it out. The paradox is that you have to be willing in your brain to admit that. You have to be willing in your brain to admit, okay, I'm going to die. The story of me is going to die. I have to give this thing to this new life. Part of me has to die. Or when you get the call, son, your father had a stroke. It's not looking good. That's the oh shit moment. That's the oh shit moment. That's when you rise. That's when you rise. And the more acquainted you get with that moment, the more acquainted you get with that moment, the more comfortable you get with dying. The samurai, if you read about the samurai, they live as if they were already dead. They talked about the first person that's going to go to war. The first person that's going to die in war is the person that's thinking about their wife and their child. They're thinking about their story. They're thinking about their identity. They're thinking about me, what I'm doing, what I represent, what I'm afraid of. All of it. It's all an identity thing. And anytime you have to take the next step in your life, it is death to your identity. If you do martial arts and you do one attack, you're dying. You're sacrificing yourself. You are sacrificing yourself in everything you do, every business venture. You're literally sacrificing your time, your money. It could fail. It's a sacrifice. It's a sacrifice. And you have to ask yourself, what is life worth sacrificing for? What is life worth sacrificing for? And part of the reason why people are so damn depressed is because they don't have a life worth living. They're not doing something that is worth being alive. They're waking up, they're chugging coffee, they're driving to work, sir, yes, sir, or they're answering phone calls to pissed off, angry clients, or they're listening to a naggy wife. None of that is inspiring them to be a man. Why are you doing all of this? What's the point of doing all of this? My sensei said it's to wake up. I guess it's to wake up from the story. I don't know. But the more you become comfortable with death, because death is life. Death must necessitate life. In order for you to live, in order for you to grow, you must die. And when you have that moment, you can run away, or you can look at it in the face and say, you know what? I'm going to do it. Because if you look at the end of it, if you really, really look at all the consequences that could happen, what's the worst that could happen? Let's say you go into tons of debt. Let's say you get crazy amounts of debt. No way that you could ever pay it off. And you bankrupt. And your credit's destroyed. And you got creditors banging down your door. And people are calling you nonstop. And you're tired and you're angry and like you don't feel like you can provide. You don't feel like you can be a man. You got all of these pressures around you. All of it. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? You're going to look at yourself in the mirror and you're going to be a man and you're going to fucking do it. And it's going to make you stronger. And you're going to relish in it. And you're going to become wise because of it. Because no matter what happens in your life, you'll always bounce back. You just rebuild your credit score. Forget about the creditors. Rebuild. Do it again. Some of the most successful people that have ever lived have been bankrupt so many fucking times that they're just like used to it. Whatever. Or your girlfriend leaves you. I can't tell you how many women have left me. I can't tell you how many times I've been left back to square one, like, all right, what do I have? Me, myself, and I, my true purpose, my connection to God, my willpower, my zeal as a man to live, to make this worth something, to make it worth something, to make life meaningful. I can't tell you that every decision that you make will succeed. I can't tell you that. In fact, there's a good likelihood that it won't. How does that land in your gut? How does that feel to face that? That maybe what you're doing right now, all the effort, all the sacrifice, all the devotion, maybe that's not going to work. So what? So what if it doesn't work? Do it again. Do it better. Build back better. The only thing going to stop you is your belief in you. Because eventually, it's going to work. And if it doesn't, and you spend your whole damn life telling yourself that same story, and you're on your deathbed and you're like, hey, it never really worked. If you're on your deathbed and you say that, at least you can tell yourself that you gave it a hell of a good run. What's the worst that's going to happen? You go homeless? Your woman leaves you? She cheats on you? You die? You get shot? Go to jail? What are you going to do when you're there? You're going to be the same you. You're going to be the same person. God's going to be there. All the resources are going to be there. You're just in a different container. And you're going to do the same damn thing like any real man would. To step up. Every time. To die again and again and again and again and again. Until you have your final breath. Until you have your final death. And then when you die, you realize that nothing was dying. Nothing was dying. It was just a story I was telling myself that was dying. So, that thing that you're afraid of, fall in love with that fear. Swim in it, embrace it, touch it, taste it, smell it. Live in that fear. Because that's what it means to be a man. That's what it means to be a human being. What do you fear? Make that shit your fucking bitch. Part of the journey that I've started in my life is to support men that don't have those resources. They don't have that person to talk to that gets them, that understands them, that lives a more peaceful, graceful life. So I'm not going to lie, I'm very happy with my life. Very peaceful. My life is beautiful. But they're choices that I made. And I know how hard it is in the world to feel the pressure of being a man, to feel the pressure of this, I I don't even know what it is. It's like this collective pressure on you. The archetype of being a man is you got to step up and sacrifice. Every single man that I've worked with, every single person that I've talked to has always felt this pressure. And what I've realized is that the pressure ain't going to go away. You just have to change your relationship to the pressure. That's where you find more peace. That's where you find more grace, because by changing your relationship with the pressure, more space is opened for you, for new opportunities to come about. And I started this channel. I started the work that I do working with men because so many men are desperate in the world. They're desperate in the world for real shit, for realness. Somebody that's not going to sugarcoat shit, but also gives a sense of real, actual grounded hope. And what's important is to get high off that energy. You have to feed off that energy. It's like a battery, a never-ending battery. That's what I offer to people, is to get high on what's possible for you, to get high on God, to get high on life. Because the stronger you are as a man, the better the world becomes. Isn't that what we're here to do? To be better men? To make the world a better place? To build stronger, better families? To make life better for our children? Isn't that the point? Why else would you be here? Anything else is anti-God, anti-life. If you want to stop creating, if you want to not make children, if you don't want to do anything in your life, you're basically stopping your fundamental life force of wanting to propagate more of itself, create more of itself, do more of itself, express more of itself. Your nature is to create. Your nature is to do. Your nature is to conquer. Your nature is to be excellent. That's why you became a human being in the first place. And man, are men suffering. There are millions of men that are just suffering because they don't have this resource. They don't have this resource. And this is what I offer to men, this resource to bring them back home, to remind them of where they are, to remind them of their journey, to remind them of why they're here. So that's what I offer. That's what I offer. And if you really resonated with this, it's probably because you're a real fucking man. And I want to be working and collaborating and getting high off of life with real fucking men. Because real fucking men get this shit. Real fucking men eat this for breakfast. You can keep struggling alone by yourself. You can keep forgetting your purpose. You can keep thinking that you have to figure it out on your own. You can grind yourself to a bone. You can stick through it to the bitter end. And when you get there, you're going to ask yourself what the whole point was. To prove it to who? To you? To the bully? To God? What are you doing it all for? It's never about you, man. Never was, never will be. And the reason you're suffering is because you think it is. And I want to show you a better way.